Okay, so good morning, everyone. Today is the second day of our 2022 KARMI conference, and I'm Soyoung Lim from Sungkyunkwan University. And today I will be as a moderator. I will doing a moderator for the first session, the risk management of Asia. And we have in this session we have five distinguished papers, and each presenters will present your paper in 15 or 20 minutes, and after the presentation there will be a 5 or 10 minutes the question and answer time. And for the first presentation, Professor Hyungbin In from Wenzhou Business College, and he will present about the micro and small-sized enterprises sustainability oriented innovation for COVID-19. So Professor Hyungbin In, are you ready for the presentation?
Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Lin, to introduce me about this paper, this situation. Good morning, everyone. So my name is Hangbin In. So I will starting the presentation from now. So my today's title, okay, first of all, I'm from the Wenzhou Business College for Wenzhou in China. So cannot move to Korea, so I deliver it online. And I also, the one title is the director of the Wenzhou One Belt, One Road Researching Institute. So focusing on the digital transformation and researching on the getting some data from the Belt and Road, especially for the Wenzhou investment to overseas, focusing on the like in the Pakistan, India, or the Malaysia, like in those countries. So we analyze this data researching center. So, okay, today I prepared one of my published paper. So title is, you can say this is MSE, M is micro and small size enterprises, sustainability oriented innovation for the COVID-19. So actually we have the same category, same criteria, the similar the meaning. We had successfully published the 3 papers for our teams. The first connected paper is this title in the MPM, Marine Policy and Management. The title related to the Chinese small and medium startup business. So this is published on the maybe the March of the 2022. So this paper, so we using an interview system. But that time, China is not big bumping about COVID-19 situation. So many small and medium-sized is unworking for the formula. So we a team moved to the Ningbo harbor or Shanghai harbors to collecting the many risk perception the data. So using a fuzzy AHP plus IPA analysis for finding out which risk connected with the start of the business. But why I does not deliver this paper on today? Because we through finding this analysis, these many risk factor, we understanding what is the most important. We hypothesis feel the financial risk response is the most important for the small and medium company. But result is we finding out innovation risk response is the most important due to many startup the business field. Definitely every small and medium-sized company will faces the financial risk. They will faces disaster or bankruptcy or faces cash flow the problem. This is definitely every you can say the startup the boss or CEO will understanding or prepare this risk. So they does not feel this risk is the most important. So in this, among this COVID-19, they feel without innovation, without some making an innovation, small and medium due to this is just like in a subsidiary of the big shipping company. So if the big shipping company, you can say the economic change, big shipping companies needs or supply change. So they will face more risk. So they need innovation. So we, through this first connected paper, we find out most important or effective, you can say, the risk response is innovation risk response. Okay, this is a first step. We understanding this factor is important. Okay, we second publication in the SSCI. This is a journal, is a ISAER PH in the Swiss. So why we analyze this paper? Because I'm a corresponding author and the first author from the Pakistan. This people as a major is a biology, or some of the you can say the co-author is a analysis for the medicine. So they understanding what is the things. Due to COVID, among the COVID-19, China pursuing the one policy. This is the digital transformation. Digital transformation for many parts. So we find out the oil station. For example, you can say from the last year, the Middle East reduced the making of oil. So oil price is increasing, especially from the early of this year, Russia and Ukraine taking a war. So still the oil price is increasing. So China continuously pursuing the, we will making a digital transformation for the oil station and oil industry to the, you can say the electric, pursuing the electric car. So in this condition, maybe somebody will losing a job. Maybe somebody wants transformation. Maybe some of the oil station will change to the, you can say the electric, the oil station. So we making some hypotheses also using a fuzzy AHP and the IPA. We finding out this is hypothesis. We thinking the most important risk management about the oil station, gas station is maybe the operation or chemical, because you know, everybody working in the oil station, gas station, we will face it. We hypothesis if we are body, we are employee working in there. What we will feel if this is you, this is me. So this condition, we and all of the co-author will thinking, maybe they will thinking about chemical risk is important, because we know transportation car is a very dangerous. Sometimes they are bumping in the using a transfer to the oil, this condition. But what is the problem? We finding interesting thing. This is a psychological risk. So why? Because they worry about they losing a job. They worry about continuously about COVID-19. So they're thinking they need making a labor transformation. They need thinking they are labor, not only for focusing on the one skill or one technology. They should having many skills. This is through the interview, we understanding, we analysis. So this is we finding out the significance. So through this paper, we understanding, okay, psychological risk. Which part of the psychological? This is also connected innovation. So this is second paper. Third paper, connect paper is today. I will deliver it or summarize this paper. This is a publication in sustainability, is still in the Swiss. So open access, like in this ISAER PH and sustainability is open access. They review a paper time is so quick. For example, I from the apply this paper to getting acceptance this paper using 3 months. Definitely sometime I also many times getting a reject, but still they are even the reject, their review time is so quick. So I really suggest or recommendation another our the professor or the doctor to try this open access journal without a little expensive publication fee. Another condition is fine and okay. Okay, today we focusing on the MSE. MSE is a micro small size sustainability. Why I deliver this paper? This paper publication maybe this summer, August in this year. So this is connected. First paper is we finding out about innovation. Second is psychological is also connected with the innovation. So third, we finding about maybe for the small and medium size company, they want pursuing some innovation. So we, through the review, many literature review, so we finding out which innovation title or which innovation strategy for effective analysis or effective can increasing the performance for the small and medium-sized enterprises. So we analysis for this process and we collecting the data. Fortunately, this time is COVID-19 situation in China is also not big bumping time. So we collecting the data from the, you can say this February to the May. So this range is more nice. And we move to Shanghai or Ningbo or Hangzhou or some Nanjing. There's many areas. Sometimes our team is moving to using an interview to collecting the data. So this is sometimes using a psychological aspect collecting the data. So somebody making a coding, somebody record some of the interview content, somebody connected with some of the literature review. We're finding out what is maybe effective factor for this paper. Okay. So you can say why this is important. This is very interesting, the phenomenon we can say. The first phenomenon, we writing a connected similar to 3 paper, we finding about innovation is important for the small size and medium company faces many risks. This is definitely easy sense. So another thing is we can say, I think among this grouping, some of the professor or the doctor, they transferred, they changing a new phone for the iPhone 14 or 14 Pro. You know, the 14 Pro, they reduced the production in Chinese market to move to the Vietnam market, so or the India market. So some of the global market, they estimated maybe from the iPhone 15. So iPhone production will move to the India, maybe 40% or 50% from the Chinese market. So this is a big disaster or big attack for the Chinese supply chain, the management system. So why? So I getting some of the data at recent days. We can finding out interesting things. This is 3 years among this COVID-19 continuously 3 years. So divest the FDI, withdrawal FDI from the first ranking country is South Korea. So even the market seeking or efficiency seeking, so even the both sides, South Korea, they even the big size or small size company, South Korea, 85% South Korea in Chinese market, they making a withdrawal divestment and move to the Vietnam or U-turn back to South Korea. Second is Japan. Third is the United States. You know, the long times China and making a trade war with the USA. So we can estimate it USA. USA is a third. This is a total market is a 1.92 billion US dollar. So Chinese market will lose this market due to the divestment. So this is a phenomenon and this is a reality. So according to this reality, Chinese market making a new strategy. This is a dual circulation strategy. As you know, for the smile curve, you can say the GVC, global value chain system. So based on the GVC system, global value chain system, China always status is like in a small curve and below size, only assembly or the production. So, but China wants inviting the more technology or making a joint venture for the technology company. So want increasing some innovation. This innovation is not for thinking. This innovation for the technology or inviting more the good talents or inviting many the PhD doctor, new medical system liking that. So China wants making a domestic market, focusing on the domestic market. So we can say the design by the domestic market, assembly, production, selling after service, all of process in the Chinese market. And if in the domestic market, we are making successful, in this condition, we focusing on the exporting. This is very similar to the 1980 to the 1990 Korean market. So as you know, Japanese market, Korean market, they also bases on from the USA, the GVC, global value chain, and they transfer to making a domestic brand like in that. This is recently Chinese strategy. But according to the COVID-19, many people cannot go outside for the work, for the innovation. I don't know from the next year what will happen. But anyhow, this strategy is 5 years in the Chinese most important, one of the important the strategy. So I think this is will continuously going. So focusing on the domestic market, especially for the electric car market. This is Chinese first focusing on the industry. So, but as you know, until now, China haven't huge or you can say the big size of the car brand, just like a Hyundai or Toyota, like in this. We haven't, but many small and medium-sized company using some technology or buying some you can say the car battery from the CATL or from the BYD. They're making a new car maker like in that. This is you can say the startup, one of the new startup, the business style. Okay, this is a background for this paper. So that's why we want to writing this paper. Okay, I summarized this introduction is we bases on the first two published paper and Chinese this phenomenon investment from the Chinese market, Korean, Japan, or the United States, especially for the Apple or the Samsung, Hyundai is also divestment many you can say the factory from in Chinese market. Okay, this is the GVC I had explained before. So Chinese is focusing on the manufacturing. So now they want starting from the R&D to all of the processing for you can say the pursuing the global value chain in domestic Chinese market to making all of the process to increasing, you can say the employee, the ratio like in that. Okay. In the theoretical background, we will find it finding. So this is a risk management, the processing. I think this is the theory, so everybody can understanding this situation. So I does not explain the more sentence for this part. So anyhow, we finding about ERM is important, enterprise risk management, and the basis on the ERM. So we first finding a risk and we thinking using this perception and finding some management strategy. But this strategy before as a routine strategy, for example, so we usually thinking about localization or global strategy. This both one, anyone is okay for this two option among this two option. But now we finding about not only for this two option, maybe we thinking a new innovation or new title. This is a more important. So we second finding about this SOIPE. This what is the SOIPE? SOIPE is a we can say SOIPE is a sustainability oriented innovation. This is a P. Sorry, I also forgot. Yes, as P is a public emergency. You can say that in the COVID-19. Sustainability, we should making a sustainability oriented innovation strategy. Okay, we find out the four strategy. First is a PS. So you can say PS is a production and service innovation. I as information. Information is just like in this today's seminar's title is digitalization. You can say the digitalization, digital economy, or digital transformation like in this. M is a marketing innovation. I is a labor innovation. So we base it on the reading and collecting the many literature review. We're finding about this four innovation is more usually to analysis or thinking about in the principle or another SSCI paper. So what do? We first step is going to many start up the business for the small size and medium company. We're using an NGT method. NGT method is randomly liking another people speaking their complaint somebody or some problem and some risk. We according their speeches or response and according to the theory. So we new record making a factor liking that. This is NGT method. So using this, we finding about risk perception. And we still finding about this for innovation, the strategy. So we want analysis whether using this strategy can increasing this risk perception, or you can say which is the most important or which is the most effective factor for this problem, this risk. You can say which innovation can effectively to increasing this problem, this risk. So this is our hypothesis and our thinking. So we're using a least square method to multiply these two factors. Innovation can affect to the risk perception, or making some ranking. So which one is a more better, which one is second, which is the third effective, like in this process. Okay, this is a formula, so we can say that you can look up this is all of the formula processing. Okay, we summarize that, and we finding about this is for a category sustainability. So first is a governance, second is economy, third is a financial. So as you can see, this is a dimension, subdimension, and a criteria for details factors. Oh, this is fourth is social, cultural, and the big environment system. So what is we hypothesize definitely before paper, we also thinking financial sustainability definitely is the most important maybe problem. But this is everybody know these things we finding. So we no need writing a new paper to finding about or making a new evidence. This is important. So what is important? Okay, this is a problem. So which problem is a more big problem, we think? We're making some ranking using a fuzzy ASP. For example, this is the first ranking, second ranking, third ranking, fourth ranking. What about this? This is a government behavior. Government, for example, when we close the door, when we cannot out of the door, this is governance sustainability, making some policy like this. This is economy sustainability. Economy is an exporting market, import market, global economy, or you can say the oil price fluctuation like in this. This is outside, you can say the environment. So financial sustainability, as you know, this is all of the inside the company. For example, the profitability, cash flow, just like in a financial statement or the balance sheet condition about this company. This is social and environment. This is a social risk, just like in under the employment, like in this pollution or air, water, like in this condition. Okay, now we analyzed 16 people, but every people making 6 pieces of the questionnaire. Why? We making collecting data first tier and the second tier the city. All of people as probably belong to the dean or the you can say the CEO or startup business boss. Why? 16 people, everybody making a 6 questionnaire. First is the impact. Second is the innovation. Third is the PS. Do you remember what it means is the PS? PS is production and the service innovation. I is the digitalization information. M is a marketing. Fourth is a labor innovation. So liking that. What do we find out? We find out, okay, first the ranking is financial sustainability. This is just like in the same to our hypothesis. Every small and medium MSE field, if we faces domestic financial sustainability problems or risk, we cannot sustainability to management or to management this enterprises, startup business. Second is the economic. This is the big environment. If we making something cannot exporting, so we also will face a disaster and a risk. Third is a government. So we thinking government may be the second, but result is government two. Maybe that's time and basis time. That's the time because the Chinese situation is more nice than now. So maybe their perception feel okay. Government will continuously making, but this is now we feel the disaster maybe the 2 months, 3 months later. Chinese government also pursuing some the good some balance. You can say the policy lets the many small and medium startup business feel this is more nice and okay. So anyhow, governance sustainability is always changed sometimes. Okay, forcing the environment because as you know, the big enterprises, they were more focusing on the environmental, the protected, for example, the water or something. Toyota protected some you can say the earth, so producing the hybrid system, electric system like in this. So, but small and medium-sized company, they does not more care about environment. So their ranking is liking this. Okay, subdimension due to a time is limited. I does not more details explanation. But anyhow, the big framework is liking this ranking. You can say this is a risk perception. So by the CEO interviews. Okay, second is a word. This is a SOIP, a performance. This is innovation. So what is it? We making any innovation method to this all of the risk we finding out about ranking. So you can say that this is a big range. Big range is a 7,574. This is effective means the low. So what is the effect is high? We should making a short. The total is short. So as you can see, clear see, what is the short? This is information. Second is a market. Third is a labor. Fourth is a production and service. Why? We analyze this basis for this result for the on the discussion and the conclusion the part. So we're finding out about information, digitalization. Among COVID-19, I think not only for the China, even the Korea, Japan, or the USA market, they transfer the more service for the online system or the digital transformation, even using some robot to delivery. I can see from the TV show, Korean market explored many the fried chicken machine using a robot. This is also the information, you can say the digital transformation. So in Chinese market, small and medium-sized companies thinking the transfer to the digitalization is a most important and most effective the factor for the all of the risk group. So they thinking even they face this many risk or many sustainability problem, but they can using a digital transformation this. But what is the problem? Because the digital transformation should basis on the big platform or also should pay the high money licensing the money or the platform the money. This is also the, you can say the consume or increasing the outcome. This is still the problem for the small size and medium company because they will increasing the financial sustainability risk. Because if they increasing the outcome, definitely cash flow problem will face it, or credit problem is also face it. Anyhow, so we finding about information, digital transformation is more effective to management the risk grouping or risk perception. Second is the marketing. So we finding about Chinese market day by day recognize only pursuing or assembly to making a good quality you can say the merchandise not more important. They think marketing is more important to making some brand. Among this several years, China making some new tea brand like in a Hey tea, very famous in China. Many people especially for the young people, even the waiting 1 hour, 2 hours line to drinking one bottle of the tea, like in the sweet tea or bubble tea, like in that. This is a marketing, you know, the pursuing for the branding or promotion system. Okay, marketing is second. Third is the labor. Labor, we thinking about maybe we transfer the labor or transfer the talent skill. We will increasing the more the risk of perception, but unfortunately, labor is only third effective things. But about this ranking about number is a not big gap from the marketing. But what is the big gap? Production and service. We thinking that among COVID-19, even we production the more good quality the merchandise or increasing the service department. Still, many people does not consume this merchandise or buying this. Maybe this is faces some cash flow or cannot move usually. This is both is a problem, or especially for the tourism, the market, even the providing more service or decreasing some price of the hotel price. Still, people cannot usually move, so they cannot consume this service. This is still the problem. But anyhow, this is the interesting the analysis and interesting the research finding about this phenomenon. Still, this is a dimension. This is a subdimension. Even the subdimension, the result is same. So we can say dimension, subdimension criteria for any factor we using production, information, marketing, labor to effective this risk, sustainability risk. So we finding about this ranking, but all of even the ranking number is different, but this big direction is same. So I summarized that this whole paper as I think until now, analysis is MSE, the company, small and medium-sized company, they feel the digital transformation and marketing is the most important. So I think based on the Chinese 5 years long-term strategy, I think MSE, even the not MSE, medium-sized company, the same will continuously focusing on the digital transformation. So based on the digital transformation, they definitely should the insurance to cover some risk. They should some strategy to respond this risk or problem. Among this strategy, definitely we will finding many problems and should manage this problem process. So I think today, next step and the many researcher or the professor will deliver very beautiful graph and interesting the topic about research. So I also really expected to heard another researcher to share more interesting the topic for the researching. So today my presentation is until now. Thank you so much for the listening. So my name is Han Binin. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Han Binin, for your great presentation. And I think we can spend about 5 minutes for the question time. Is there any question from the floor?
Let me ask a question to Professor Yoon. In your opinion, what is any difference between China and the other country in addressing the ESG or sustainability issues? Do you see any difference? Please turn on your microphone.
Yes. Yes, Professor Zhang, sorry. So I push the button. Okay, first the difference is we making the hypersurface is a little special. For example, so many review the paper, they only using a hypersurface of 1, 2, 3, 4, the sustainability or risk perception, making some ranking, or the through the using a fuzzy HP or the AMOS to analyze this factor. So we innovatively to finding about and the interesting topic. So maybe we finding about 4 strategical innovation response. So we using this 4 factor to effecting this problem. So what we will finding? So we will finding this. But first is no any difference from the global market, from the Chinese market to the Korean or the USA market. So among this you can say the COVID-19, the period, whole world, I think they changed to the digitalization. Even the digital currency is a big hot topic in the global. So this is the same situation for the digital, but a little difference. What is a little difference? Digitalization is a very huge category. So Chinese are only focusing on the digital transformation. Digital transformation means on the using a robot instead of the people. Second is they using a different style. For example, they before using the channel as a department store. Now they're using a transform, a platform. They're using an advertisement using a paper. Now say using an advertisement by the online. Or now China hot topic is for example, like how I saying in the English, I don't know. Sometimes they making some. Korea is also having like in this, them making some. They're selling from the online system. They're selling some apparel in the home. They're selling some, making some goods in the home, like in the digital transformation. Not big framework of digitalization included digital currency like in that. So until now, Chinese digital currency, I think my feeling maybe the liking this pursuing is a stop liking this, because the 2 years ago, Chinese government, they many channels saying we should focusing on we're pursuing the digital currency, but recently the 1 year, so nobody expert talking about this topic, only talking about digital transformation. So you can say Chinese digitalization is narrowly and focusing on some area. Second is a little difference. In the global, we find about second important is a labor. Labor is a talent, you can say. But in China is a marketing. That means Chinese consumer is I think this is only the very young, you can say a very young market. Like in the USA market, even they finding a car, they will analyze this, understanding this mechanism system to buying this. But Chinese market, we can say only basis on the advertisement or promotion, they will buying something. So even the labor transformation, but effective is lower than the marketing. But force is the same, production and service, because we cannot freely move or to transfer to the moving to the another country or area. So we will limit it. So moving. So in this condition, production and the service, even the increasing effective is not so good. So this is the same. So only we find out this two factor is different from the global market from Chinese market. Okay, Professor Zhang. Yes, this is explanation. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor Yan, for your presentation and the answer. And I think because of the time, I think we have to move to the next presenter. And thank you, Professor Yun. And next,
thank you so much, moderator.
Yeah, next presenter is Xing Li. Professor Xing Li and Fang Sophia Su from Shanghai University of Finance and Economics. And Professor Xing Li will present about the dynamic impacts of COVID-19 and the March 2020 stock market crash on the multi-fragility of Nasdaq Composite and insurance indexes. So Professor Xing Li, can you share your screen, and the floor is now yours.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Xing Li. I came from Shanghai University of Finance and Economics. Thank you for giving the opportunity of making this presentation. The co-author is Professor Fang Su. My presentation includes 4 parts. The first one is the introduction. The second one is the data. The third one is the method. And the last one is the empirical results. First of all, I'd like to introduce the background of our paper. After COVID-19 outbreaks in March 2020, one of the most dramatic stock market crash in history happened. In barely 4 trading days, Dow Jones dropped roughly 26%. In barely 7 trading days, Nasdaq Composite Index dropped 20.1%, and the Nasdaq Insurance Index dropped 25.4%. The stock market crash has attracted many researchers' attention and interest. However, there is no empirical study on the multifractal characteristic of Nasdaq Composite and Insurance Index. So, accordingly, the purpose of this paper is to examine the dynamic impact on the multifractal of Nasdaq Composite and Insurance Index. The questions we will explore are: what's the dynamic impact of COVID-19 on apparent and intrinsic multifractality of Nasdaq Insurance and Composite Index? And what's the dynamic impact of COVID-19 on apparent and intrinsic multifractal cross correlations between insurance and composite index? This page is the previous research of our paper. In 2009, Jiang reported the multifractality of S&P volatility. In 2016, Dai presented the multifractality of Dow and Nasdaq volatility. The significant difference in the multifractal behavior have been observed before and after crisis. In 2009, the author investigated the multifractal behavior of 7 stock market index. And in 2017, the author studied multifractal character of 4 stock market index around 3 major crises, and find the multifractal spectrum west of Black Monday is the biggest. The time series in this study are selected from December 1st, 2017 to September 13th, 2021. The data from December 1st, 2017 to December 31st, 2019 is chosen as before COVID-19 outbreak. And the other data is chosen after COVID-19, it is chosen as after COVID-19 outbreak. And the season's difference is observed. This page is the original series. It clearly shows that there exist sharp reductions after COVID-19 outbreak, and the March 2020 stock market crash. The contraction of Nasdaq Insurance Index reached the bottom of the series. Moreover, before March 2020 crash, Nasdaq Insurance Index is larger than Composite Index. But after March 2020 crash, Nasdaq Insurance Index became smaller. This is a season's difference. The basic multifractal analysis method used in this paper is the MFDFA method. It includes 5 steps. The main indicators are the generalized Hurst exponent HQ, the Hurst exponent H2, and the range of HQ delta HQ, and the multifractal spectrum wise delta alpha, which represents degree of the multifractality. In order to distinguish different sources of apparent multifractality, the width of the original series multifractal spectrum delta alpha can be decomposed to three parts: the nonlinear correlation delta alpha NL, the linear correlation delta alpha LM, and the fact-tailed probability distribution delta alpha PDF. And it can be solved from the equation 8. Delta alpha equals delta alpha NL plus delta alpha LM plus delta alpha PDF. To compute these three parts of apparent multifractality, the simulation shuffling procedure, the Fourier transform surrogate procedure, and MFDFA method are integrated. The detailed multifractal cause analysis includes 5 steps. Then we can get intrinsic multifractality. And the intrinsic multifractality is a nonlinear correlation multifractality. The basic multifractal cross-correlation method used in this paper is the MFDCCA method. The main indexes are the generalized Hurst exponent HXYQ, the Hurst exponent HXY2, and the range of HXYQ delta HXYQ, and the multifractal spectrum width delta alpha XY, which represents degree of the multifractal cross-correlation. Similarly, the simulation shuffling procedure, the surrogate procedure, and MFDCCA method are integrated, and we can get the intrinsic multifractal cross-correlation. The following pages are empirical results. This picture is a generalized Hurst exponents and multifractal spectrum of 2 index series. It shows 2 index series both before and after COVID-19 outbreak have multifractal characteristics, and all are long-range correlated. Moreover, the greater multifractal degree is got after COVID-19 outbreak. The multifractal degree of insurance index are weaker than that of composite index. We can see from the picture that delta alpha insurance after the COVID-19 is 0.5852. And the composite delta alpha the delta alpha composite index after the COVID-19 is 0.7918. This picture is a generalized Hurst exponent of shuffled and surrogate series. It shows that generalized Hurst exponents of shuffled series is smaller than the original series. And there are smaller differences between generalized Hurst exponents of surrogate and original series. This picture is a multifractal spectrum of shuffled and surrogate series before and after COVID-19 outbreak. It shows that there are all bell shapes. The difference between multifractal spectral width of surrogate series and original series are bigger after COVID-19 outbreak. This table is a result of the intrinsic multifractal analysis. The apparent multifractality is decomposed to 3 parts. The delta alpha is the apparent multifractality, and the delta alpha LM is the linear correlation multifractality, and the delta alpha NL is a nonlinear correlation multifractality, and the delta alpha PDF is a factor of the probability distribution parts, and the delta alpha INTR is the intrinsic multifractality. And the INTR ratio is the intrinsic multifractality. The ratio of intrinsic multifractality and on the apparent multifractality. And the number in the breakfast is the standard deviation. This picture is the apparent multifractal cross correlation, generalized Hust exponents, multifractal spectrum of shuffled and surrogate between two indexers before and after COVID-19 outbreak. It shows that the cross correlation between two indexers both before and after COVID-19 outbreak are multifractal. The multifractal cross correlation degree is greater after COVID-19 outbreak. The table is a result of intrinsic multifractal cross correlation analysis. The apparent multifractal cross correlation is decomposed to three parts. The apparent multifractal cross correlation is delta alpha XY, and the linear correlation part is the delta alpha XY LM. And the nonlinear correlation part is the delta alpha XY NL, and the factor distribution part is the delta alpha PDF. And the intrinsic multifractal cross correlation is the delta alpha XY INTR. And the intrinsic multifractal cross correlation of two indexers increase after COVID-19 outbreak. It's from 36 point to 56 point. And this is the conclusion. The first one is the two indexers, both before and after COVID-19 outbreak, have a multifractal characteristic. Moreover, the greater multifractal degree is got after COVID-19 outbreak. The multifractal degree of NASDAQ insurance indexers is weaker than that of composite index. The second is the intrinsic multifractality of two indexers increased largely after COVID-19 outbreak. And the third one is the cross correlation between two indexers both before and after COVID-19 outbreak are multifractal. And there is a greater multifractal degree between the pair of series after COVID-19 outbreak. The intrinsic multifractal cross correlation between two cells increased after COVID-19 outbreak. That's all. Thank you. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Professor Singh, for your presentation. So if there are any questions, we have 5 minutes for the question and answer time. Is there any question from the floor?
Dr. Lee,
yes.
Is your presentation based on your dissertation, doctoral dissertation?
Yes.
Very interesting.
Any question from the floor? Okay, so Dr. Lee, thank you for your presentation, and yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I think there's no more question or comments from the floor, so I think it would be better to move on to the next presenter. Thank you, Dr. Lee, for your presentation today.
Thank you.
Yeah, and next presenter is Hiep from Vietnam National University. Hiep, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here now.
Yeah, can you share your screen or?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Just a moment, please.
Yeah.
Oh. Right, okay. So can you see my screen now?
Yes, perfect.
Right, okay. First of all, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to present our paper at the conference. So my name is Hiep, and I'm from the Vietnam National University. And this is a paper I'm working with my colleagues from our university and the University of Leeds. So in this paper, the paper of the title of the paper I'm presenting today is the implication of central bank digital currency for financial stability. So in overall, what I mean here is to examine, we try to examine, to quantify the impact of central bank digital currency on financial stability. And in order to do so, we construct a time-varying CBDC adoption index. CBDC means central bank digital currency in short. So we use a global data, and from more than 1,000 banks or listed banks operating in 86 countries over more than 10 years period, from 2010 to 2021. This is actually like the reason why we think about this topic. We focus on CBDC is because it has been a regulatory cone for more understanding of CBDC and its economic implication around the world. So you see, like there's a boom of cryptocurrency market where it's up and down all the time. And the bubble, and when the bubble bursts, there's another type of financial assets we call digital assets have been in place, like stable coin, but then it's not controlled by the government. So as you see, like many countries around the world now, they're trying to adopt their CB to research and adopt their own digital currency. And therefore, this is the paper who respond to their call. And we also, therefore, we contribute to the emerging strata of literatures on CBDC and its implication. And we contribute to the literature on financial stability in overall. And this is actually the first study that's trying to quantify the impact of CBDC on economic outcome. What we say here is financial stability. So yes, like I just mentioned about central bank digital currency had attracted significant attention around the world, and is considered as the latest evolution at international level. And it can affect many things, the social economic activity, and so on. So the evidence showed that by the end of 2021, a total of 84 countries and territories has has involved in the CBDC research and development to some extent. So what we find here is the adoption of overall, what we find here, and I will explain later on, is the adoption of CBDC contribute to promote financial stability. And CBDC can promote financial stability because it can reduce leverage risk, portfolio risk, and asset risk, and loan loss reserve. And also the adoption of CBDC, we also found that it's positively associated with bank lending, which means that following the adoption of central bank digital currency, bank can provide more credit to the market. And we also find the evidence that CBDC adoption have more positive impact in emerging country than in the more developed country. And in terms of CBDC design, we know that there's a retail CBDC and wholesale CBDC. And we find that like retail CBDC is positively affect the financial stability, while the wholesale CBDC can hamper the system stability. So I could say that this is actually the first paper that have been attempting to quantify the impact of central bank digital currency on financial stability. So other paper, previous study, what they do is they just provide a theoretical concept or background or conceptual foundation on the possible economic implication of CBDC. So this is the first paper. We try to collect data as much as possible, and we run econometric model to evaluate the real impact of CBDC. And how can we do that? It's one of the very first contribution of our paper is to create what we call CBDC adoption index. So as you know, there's many countries have involved in the CBDC to some extent. Like some countries are still thinking, well, whether we or not we should involve in CBDC project. Like I'm in Vietnam, so the central bank of Vietnam, which is considering at a very, very early stage, they still wonder whether they should adopt their own digital currency. However, some country like China, they have already have pilot their digital currency. Some other smaller country like Bahamas, they even launched their currency to the market, to the general market. So overall, there has been like 84 countries and territories around the world have been involving in CBDC, the CBDC project to some extent. And our job is to track and record the development and adoption process of each individual country. So the story here is, for example, in China, so we have to check their current status. For example, they already launched their CBDC, and therefore we have to manually check the history of the China yuan and the digital China yuan, and we change back to see which years the country declared to research to adopt have launched their CBDC, and so forth. Therefore, we classify the development and adoption process of CBDC in every single country into 4 different phases. The first one is research phase. The second one is a proof of concept, and the third is pilot, and the final one is launch. The research process means the country make official declaration that we are starting or researching the possibility to adopt CBDC in our country. The proof of concept means they make an official declaration to the general public that we have the proof of concept ready, and it will be ready for the next phase, which is the pilot phase. And the third phase, which is the pilot phase, and it is the phase where the country or the central bank of the country declare that we start to pilot, adopt their own digital currency, maybe at, in some city, province, or at the national scale. And the final phase is the launch phase, where the country say that we are officially have our digital currency. So based on this category, we construct a time-varying CBDC adoption index across country from 2010 to 2021, and the index is ranged between 0 and 4. 0 means the country have not involved in a given years, so the country have not involved in any state of CBDC adoption and development. While 4 means the country have fully launched the CBDC. Here is the map of the CBDC adoption around the world. You can see. So some countries have declared to cancel their projects of on 2 countries, and most of the countries are in the research project, and the purple is the country other country though have like announce a proof of concept. The yellow one, the orange one, is the list of country that has already that had the CBDC pilot program in place, and the final the blue category is other countries adopts CBDC, fully launched the CBDC. So in terms of measuring financial stability, so it is quite simple, and I just follow the most common practice in the banking and finance literatures, and use the Z-score as the using this formulation, which is the sum of return on assets plus capitalization divided by standard deviation of return on assets. So this is the standard measure of financial stability and have been used extensively in the previous literatures. And so the Z-score measures the number of standard deviation by which the bank profit has to fail to wipe out the entire bank capital, and therefore higher value of sorry, this is typo here, not cash Z-score but Z-score. A higher value of Z-score imply a higher level of stability. So in terms of model, the model is quite simple. It's a standard panel regression model with fixed effect. In the left-hand side of the variable, we have the Z-score, which is a measure of financial stability. And the main variable interest is CBDC adoption, which is a variable capturing the level of CBDC adoption of the country. And we also control for a very comprehensive list of control variable. Is a bank control variable and macroeconomic control variable. We use a lot of fixed effect here in our model, and it's worth noting that to reduce the multicolority concern, we not multicolority, the endogeneity concern, we use one period lag of on right-hand side variable. So our data, so in terms of data, we use all publicly listed bank available to retrieve from S&P Global Market Intelligence Database, or what we call is SNL database. So in this data, we can access all financial information of banks. And in terms of the CBDC checker, we adopt the information from the CBDC checker database, which is a data developed by the Boston Consulting Group. So it gives us the overview of what has been done, what is the current status of the country, and therefore based on this snapshot evidence, we have to trace back every single country. So the period of study is from 2010 to 2021. The reason why we choose, we start our period from 2010 because first we want to get rid of the possible impact of the financial crisis, which happened like around 2007 to 2009. And more importantly, this is a period following the inception of Bitcoin and the bull market of other digital currency, and therefore is the period that mark the attention of banking regulators around the world. So in terms of macroeconomic indicators, we collect data from the World Development Indicators. So overall, we have more than 1,000 publicly listed commercial banks in 86 countries, so which allow us to have about like more than 12,000 bank years observation. So here's a summarized statistic of our variable. And here we come to the baseline results. We do control for, we do have like bank control and macroeconomic controls. However, for the sake of brevity, I just don't present the variable here in this table, but it's always available upon request. Here, this is the baseline result, is quite similar, and they're only different in terms of the fixed effect enters the model and the number of control variable enters the model. So let's take the third column as the main variable, results. So you see the coefficient on CBDC adoption is positive and strongly significant, which indicates that like CBDC adoption have bring the positive impact on bank stability. We do a lot of Robbins tests. It's about like 12 tests, 12 additional tests, which is like we use quantitative fixed effect model. So in this paper, in the baseline model, I just use the year fixed effect, the very standard year fixed effect and bank fixed effect. In the we use in the Robbins test section, we use a very different fixed effect like regional fixed effect or regional year fixed effect. We also use quantitative clustering method because in the baseline model, we cluster the standard errors at the bank level. In this Robbins test, we use quantitative measure of CBDC instead. So instead of like an index ranging from 0 to 4, we change this to a dummy variable indicating we take the value 1 if the country have declared to pilot their CBDC project and pilot or launch their CBDC project and 0 otherwise. We also use the quantitative measure of Z-score. We exclude the COVID-19 period, which is from 2020 going forward. We also use the two-step system GMM to further tackle with the possible endogenous concern, and our model across all the tests remain really consistent, which is positive and strongly significant coefficient on CBDC adoption, and therefore verify the fact that the results that CBDC adoption can promote financial stability. So in the next session, we ask how well we see like CBDC can promote financial stability, but then we ask how and through which channel. So in order, we follow the literatures and decompose the CBDC index, the Z-score into different components, which is a leverage risk, portfolio risk, and asset risk. And we can see from this table that following the adoption of CBDC, bank leverage risk decrease and asset risk also decrease. We also find the positive and the negative and significant coefficient on negative coefficient on portfolio risk, but it's not significant. We also examine another channel, which is the bank lending and loan performance, and we find that following the adoption of the CBDC, bank can provide more loan, and they don't have to put aside too much reserve for the loan, so the loan quality basically can also increase. So in short, we find that CBDC adoption contribute to promote financial stability by increasing the resilience of the banking system. And we find the evidence that CBDC may significantly reduce leverage risk and asset risk. An important channel through which bank become more stable by increased lending, because it's a main traditional business model of the bank, and improving loan quality and lowering credit risk. So our paper will have an important implication for banking regulators, bank shareholder, and the general public. So this is the end of my presentation. So thank you very much for your attention. So I'm really happy to receive any question or comment. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor Yep. We have about 5 minutes for the question and answer time. Is there any question from the floor?
May I ask a question again?
Yes, please.
Okay. Welcome, Dr. Heep. It's great to have you here. My question is about the kind of determining factor of the CBDC adoption. Your paper discussed the impact of CBDC on financial stability, but if we think the issue from different perspective, what kind of economic or social factor may contribute to the adoption of CBDC in different levels? Do you think the financial stability or economic stability may contribute to the adoption of CBDC policy? For instance, this morning, Professor Yoon Hyung-bin introduced a Chinese case where the China has almost stopped discussing the CBDC adoption. Okay, so there can be some environmental factors to introduce the CBDC system. Or what is your opinion about that?
Yep. Thank you very much for your excellent question. So actually, this is a part of our master research project. So by master research project, we divide our project into 2 phases. The first one, we try to understanding the social, economic, and political factors that influence the CBDC adoption around the world. So you see, this is a map of the country who have involved in CBDC to some extent. Some country, even after launching their CBDC project, decide to stop their project, to terminate their project, and some other countries they don't. So it is the first part of our research project, which is I'm not present here in this conference, but I can send the paper. So this is the second part. The second part of our master project is to examine the impact of CBDC on socio-economic activities outcome. So in this kind of project, this is the first project of them. We examine on the system stability. The other project, we examine the impact of CBDC on financial inclusion and international trade or something. So in terms of the economic determinant, so which is not relevant to this project, but yes, you are absolutely right. We do this as well, and there's a lot of macroeconomic and especially political factors that lead to the adoption of CBDC, the adoption and development of CBDC. What we can say is, I can share with you the result is quite interesting. For example, GDP level, we may think that more developed countries are more easy and more eager to adopt CBDC, but it's not. Actually, the development level only positively affect the CBDC adoption for the group of emerging and least developed country, and it's not significant for advanced economy. The reason why is for emerging and developing countries, you see the adoption of CBDC is more for emerging and least developing country because they may find that this is the pathway, the shortcut to development, to catch up with the development process of some country. Like take advanced economy like the UK as an example. The House of Lords has even though they are in the green here in this category, which is in the research project, but the House of Lords, the UK Parliament, they just say that we don't find any reason why we should investing and adopting our own digital currency, because our system is quite sufficient at this moment, for example. So I mean, this is another the story. So when the economic determinant of CBDC, yes.
Thank you, Professor. Yeah. Is there any question or comments for this presentation? Okay, so I have a small question about your presentation. It was quite interesting, and I would like to know that what is your opinion on some possible problems of CBDC, like for example, like personal privacy issues or some deepening government intervention or etc. I just wonder. I mean, I
Yes.
just wonder your opinion about some. Not a positive side or some negative side of CBDC.
Thank you, Song Young. This is an excellent question, and this is a question actually we have been trying to debate, like, and we have a policy dialogue with some government agency in Vietnam. Yes, you're absolutely right, and this is a problem that make us to think of like political factors that affect the CBDC. So what we just discussed so far is the economic factors, right? So political factors is also very important. So you see some very like demographic, like many high level human right and democracy. They are still like involving in their CBDC adoption or researching process to some extent, but they're not quite hurry, not quite aggressively involved. They a little bit caution and step by step. Like you see, like the America, you see, it's a very big country and have the very developed market financial system. However, they are still a bit skeptical and bit concerned in move in very caution in terms of CBDC adoption. One of the possible explanation, because they concern about what you say is a human right in privacy or something. Because when we talk about CBDC, when the CBDC came in, then the government may, well, to some extent can check the flow, the cash flow, and therefore to some extent it's not quite private for some entity. However, CBDC is not replace the whole currency system in every single country. In fact, it just take a very small part. Let's say China, for example. I will be really surprised to see if the CBDC can take a large portion of their balances, maybe just like 5% or even less in the number of like cash in the market. So for some country, in term like I think CBDC they can do, but maybe at the large scale, the national scale now replace all the no way. I don't think it will replace their own cash flow cash in the market, in the economy.
Thank you, Professor Yang. I think now it's time to move on to the next presenter. Thank you, Professor Yang, again. And next presenter is Professor Kyung-Hae Kim from Kookmin University. And Professor Kim will present about a comparative study on business group governance structure in Korea and Japan. Yeah, so Professor Kim, could you please share your presentation file? Professor, yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
we can.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kyung-Hae Kim from Kookmin University. Today's my topic is a comparative study on business group governance structure in Korea and Japan. Let me explain the purpose of this research. I would like to compare the corporate governance structures of business groups such as Korea's 재벌 and Japan's governance in theory and practice. Business groups in Korea and Japan have different national environments. It will be possible to examine how their corporate governance affects performance and finance, and how it affects economic development and innovation. I will define business group as follows. The holding or parent company and family firms organized the multi-tiered subsidiary business, which commonly diversified into multiple sectors in either pyramidal structure. I will explain the role of the all of Korea 재벌. At the heart of Korea's rapid and successful industrial transformation have been the family-controlled, diversified business groups known as 재벌, which have at times been praised and at other times criticized. I will talk about Korea 재벌 characteristics. They played a key role in the rapid growth and of the Korean economy. They contribute to the high growth of the government-led economic development. Since the 2000, the manufacturing industry moved into the service industry. This slide is about Korea's 재벌 genesis. Former President Park Chung-hee, who became president in a military coup in 1962, made economic development a top priority. Lacking adequate resources, market institution, and experience, state governments launched a series of 5-year economic development plans, embracing policies targeting industries and partnering with a select few entrepreneurs. The 1980s to the Asian finance crisis. The representative Korean conglomerates are Samsung, Hyundai Motor, and SK and LG. National policy and entrepreneurial, comparative, and institutional environments have played an important role in determining the evolution and comparative strategies of Korean 재벌s. Let me talk about Korea's civil transition history. By 1996, Korea had emerged as the world's 11th largest economy and as a major global player in many countries, ranging from shipbuilding and steel to semiconductors and automobiles. The perception of these large and diverse business groups changed dramatically as Korea suffered its worst economic crisis in late 1997. About half of the 30 largest chaebol in 1996 underwent bankruptcy proceedings or bank-sponsored restructuring programs. chaebol also voluntarily undertook their own restructuring efforts. The recession did not last long. By 2002, Korea's GDP had surpassed that of 1996. Next, this slide is about Korea's ever present. In the case of Korea, sales of 71 domestic business groups as of 2020 amounted to approximately 1,600 trillion won, or 84% of GDP. For example, Samsung, Hyundai Motors, SK, and LG. Although the equity holdings of the controlling families have declined as group member firms have grown in number and volume, the family still maintain tight control over the firms through cross-share holdings among group members. Let me explain Japan's greatest role. Garrett dominated the Japanese economy in the late 20th century and continues to do so to a lesser extent in the early 21st century. It is a key factor in Japanese manufacturing. Next slide is about Japanese Garrett's characteristics. Garrett started from privatization of state-owned firms. Government support contributed to the growth of business groups by the early 20th century. However, as groups became larger and matured, business groups were relatively independent from the government. This slide is about Japan's genesis. Business groups in pre-war Japan had much lower share of overall economy. In post-war Japan, bank-centered business groups were predominant. Family or entrepreneurs sometimes exclusively owned the holding or parent company and kept effective control over group firms. During and before World War II, the Jaibats consisted of Mitsubishi, and Sumitomo. There are three major Japanese conglomerates. The Garretts emerged during Japan's economic miracle that followed World War II amid the collapse of family-controlled vertical monopolies called divots. After being disbanded by the United States and other allied forces, a new type of business groups, K-ASEAN, was formed through the reunion of business groups after the war. K-ASEAN Coop banks mainly owned small parts in its other companies. This system protects its company from stock market fluctuations and takeover attempts, enabling long-term planning of the project. Let me explain Japan's K-ASEAN structure. There are three types of K-ASEAN structure. Type 1 business groups are family-controlled pyramidal groups. Type 2 business groups are family ownership and holding companies at the apex. However, their systems of control were less elaborate. Finally, type 3 business groups are publicly held firms at the apex and were led by distinguished entrepreneurs. A key aspect of horizontal K-ASEAN, also known as a financial K-ASEAN, is that it is established around the Japanese bank through cross-share holdings with other companies. Japan's top horizontal K-ASEAN, also known as the Big Six, include at the Fuyo, Sanwa, Sumitomo, Mitsubishi, Mitsui, and TKB groups. Horizontal systems can also have vertical relationships called branches. Let me conclude my presentation as follows. Unlike their counterparts in Japan, the chaebol were prohibited from owning commercial banks. However, they were allowed, they were eager to diversify into non-banking financial institutions in order to expand the capacity and flexibility of their internal capital markets. Given a shortage of capital, internal finance capabilities were essential to funding the rapid growth of the chaebol. Korea's chaebol and Japan's K-ASEAN affect economic development and innovation into countries respectively, but they are criticized for owning many companies with small stakes and accused of being excessively diversified. Unlike Korea chaebol, Japan K-ASEAN is disappearing. Thank you for listening my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Kim, for your presentation.
Yeah.
Very interesting. And due to the schedule time, we will skip the question time. And if you have any question about the Professor Kim's presentation, please email to Professor Kim. And thanks again, Professor Kim, for attending our conference. Yeah. And the last presenter of this risk management of Asia session is Professor Ong, Chasu Ong from Myanmar. Professor Ong, are you there?
Yes.
Yeah. And, Professor Ong from Meik University in Myanmar, and she will present about the factors influencing consumer perception on life insurance in Myanmar. And yeah, now floor is yours.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm happy to see you all. Let me introduce myself. My name is Chasu Ah. I'm a professor and head Department of Economics in Yale University, Myanmar. Today, this is valuable opportunity to present my paper in this conference. So I would like to thank to all professors and all participants. I'm going to talk about my presentation title. My research title is Factors Influencing Consumer Perception of Life Insurance in Myanmar. This is the flow of my presentation. My presentation are divided into 7 parts. I would like to present about introduction. Insurance is one of mankind's greatest inventions and extraordinarily useful tool to reduce risks. Insurance companies play an important role in the welfare of human well-being by providing protection to millions of people against life risks such as uncertain death or accident. Insurers may seek to differentiate themselves by offering value-added services and non-monetary benefits. And then insurance companies are ready to spend money and effort to influence customer perception and drive profitable consumer behavior. Therefore, it has become important for the insurance sector to determine the factors which influence to the consumer perception of life insurance. This is the literature review. Life insurance is an important part of financial planning for families, dependents, and individuals. Insurance policies are categorized into term life, whole life, universal life, and variable universal life. Perception is a subjective process as two people may perceive the same stimuli differently. This is my previous research study. Some researchers analyzed consumer perception regarding life insurance policy. As you see in table, the results are very different each research paper. Based on previous research and literature review, 2 objectives are identified to conduct my research. The first objective is to explore the most influential factor on consumer perception of life insurance in Myanmar, and second objective is to analyze the relationship between level of education, income, family structure, policy benefits, and consumer perception of life insurance in Myanmar. This is my conceptual framework. Dependent variable is perception of life insurance, and independent variables are income, level of education, family structure, and policy benefits. In my research methodology, this study focused only life insurance policyholder in Yangon area. Primary data was collected from 120 customers who purchased life insurance from Myanmar Insurance and private life insurance companies by using simple random sampling method. 7-point Likert scale was applied to measure the level of perception, and multiple regression method was used as data analysis tool. This study also applied quantitative and descriptive research method. This session is analysis and finding. According to survey data, female respondents are more than male respondents. Concerning marital status, single respondents are more than married respondents. For the educational qualification, graduate respondents are the majority group, and regarding age, group of respondents between 26 to 35 age group are the majority of respondents than other age group. For the religion in Myanmar, Buddhists are more than other religious groups. Regarding the respondent faithfulness or religion, the most of the respondents are 5% about religious, which represent the largest in this study. Concerning household family size, the majority of respondents have 4 to 6 members. For annual income, 1,000 to 5,000 Myanmar kyats are more higher than other income groups. For occupation, majority of respondents are private employees. I would like to present about policyholder insurance background about life insurance. According to types of insurance company, most of the respondents are from AIA Myanmar Life Insurance. Concerning with insured period with the current life insurance company, 1 to 3 years are mostly insured life insurance. According to policyholder perception on insurance premium, the majority of respondents consider reasonable premium price, and regarding reason for expiring insurance, the majority of respondents purchase life insurance intent for reduced risks. According to the types of life insurance purchase, the majority of respondents purchase health insurance. Concerning reliability test, from best alphabet for level education, income, family structure, passive benefits, customer perception are higher than 0.7. So the reliability of these variables are acceptable and internet consistency. I would like to summarize about socio-economic factor, passive benefit, and perception of consumer about life insurance. According to level of education about consumer perception of life insurance, the highest mean score is 5.53. This means that higher education level makes more aware on the importance of financial security. According to income about consumer perception of life insurance, the highest mean score is 5.63. It is indicating that income increase, it is more likely that consumer purchase life insurance as they have a better perception of it. Regarding family structure about consumer perception of life insurance, the highest mean score is 5.39. It is indicating that the respondents have a positive attitude about perception of life insurance. It means that when there are more dependents for the respondents, they will have positive perception for the respondents. They have and have a higher chance to purchase life insurance. According to passive benefit about consumer perception of life insurance, the highest mean score is 5.57. This implies that increase in passive benefits will enhance the sale of insurance companies as consumers are more willing to purchase life insurance with good perception. Regarding perception of consumer about life insurance, the highest mean score is 5.72. This means that the respondents have a positive attitude about their perception of life insurance. This slide shows correlation analysis of variable. According to Pearson correlation analysis of variable, there is positive and strong correlation between level of education, income, family structure, passive benefit, and customer perception because of their value is from 0.5 to 1. This table shows the effect of socio-economic factors, passive benefit on perception of consumer about life insurance. According to multiple regression method, level of education, passive benefit are positive and significant relationship at 1% significant level. And also, income positively affect on customer perception at 10% significant level. Another finding is passive benefit is the most influential factors of customer perception. Also, level of education, income, and family structure are the second, third, and fourth influencing factor of perception on consumer about life insurance. I would like to present about suggestion and recommendation. This study will help insurance companies in implementation of appropriate strategies to influence consumers to purchase life insurance policy based on influencing factors identified through their study. Passive benefit play a vital role in deciding perception of consumer about life insurance. So insurance companies may pay greater attention to improve service quality and their sales. Insurance companies must develop training programs for employees to improve advertising their products and brand. To develop the insurance market in Myanmar, the Insurance Business Regulatory Board and insurance firms should collaborate together. Although some customers are more getting knowledgeable about insurance, the majority of people are unaware of what insurance is and its significance. So the government must simultaneously need to encourage their citizens to purchase life insurance coverage for life protection and saving, while insurers must emphasize their activities and programs for the awareness of life insurance. These are the references for my research paper. Thank you so much for your kind attention. Please give me valuable suggestion and comment.
Thank you, Professor Ong, for your presentation. So now we will get into a question and answer session. Is there any question from the floor?
Good morning, Cha Soo-young. Thank you for your presentation. I just want to clarify one thing regarding the survey result. You mentioned that the health insurance is the most popular products according to your result. Does it mean that like like medical expenses or like injury, like insurance such as like insurance is like covering like medical expenses or injuries? The most popular products, or does it or are you meaning the like a death insurance product, or which insurance life insurance product is the most popular product in the results?
Yes.
Yes, so could you just open the slides, please?
Okay. In Myanmar, the popular life insurance product is health insurance. Because of the COVID-19 situation, they aware the importance of life insurance. They need to buy for their family.
Mm-hmm. So was it specific to the the result during the COVID-19, or is it the general result?
Good.
Both?
In terms of COVID-19 situation, and then another one is they have a higher income. They want to purchase life insurance.
Right. So anyway, so health insurance, like a health insurance product, is more popular than like a death insurance product in Myanmar.
Like health insurance.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Kim, for your question, and thank you, Professor Ong, for your answer. And is there any other question or any other comments for the Professor Ong's presentation? Yeah, I have a small question to your presentation, and it was quite interesting. And you mentioned that the family structure is not affected. I mean, it's not affected variables, right?
Yes.
Could you explain some more about your result? Because I just wonder that why it is not affected for the life insurance perception.
family structure is not significant on customer perception because I think in my research survey, mostly single, and then they purchase health insurance, and then another one is for their education and because of income. So I think in my research paper, family structure is not significant on perception of consumer.
Okay, thank you. And I have one more question about some life insurance products in Myanmar. So you mentioned that health insurance is the most popular life insurance product, right? As far as I know, like in Vietnam, the education insurance is quite popular for the people. How about Myanmar? Education insurance is also popular as much as health insurance products, or?
Yes, before COVID-19 pandemic, they mostly purchase life insurance and then change the health insurance, and after that, in now most customers purchase for their children to save for their education. So in my research paper, 20% behind their education life insurance. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Any other more question for Professor Ong? Dr. Kim, you have another question? Yeah, okay. So Dr. Kim has another question to your presentation. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Any other questions from the floor? So, Dr. Kim, is it okay or? So Professor Ong, did you do a survey for this presentation, right? Survey.
Yes. Yes.
Or survey method? What kind of method did you use for this presentation?
Primary survey was collected based on questionnaire, and then Google Form through Viva and email. Yes, because I'm in Yale University, Tenentai Division.
So, yeah. So you've only focused on the people who are living in Yangon, right?
Yes.
Okay, I see.
Thank you so much, Xiao.
Okay, so I think there's no more question, or and it was really very great presentation, Professor Ong, and thank you. And yeah, we finished. I mean, I think we can finish it. I mean, we can wrap this risk management of Asia session, and It was really great having all the presenters and all the attendees for this morning session. And from 1 p.m., we will start again the afternoon session, which is ESG and digitalization, quite interesting topic. So I hope I hope all of you to see you again for the afternoon session, and thanks for attending this morning session.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you.